Do you like what we do here? I would assume so if you're listening to this. We have had a good year for growth this year. We've had substantial growth on all the podcast feeds with new subscribers. We have the new YouTube channel with a bunch of new subscribers there too. But we want to carry this over into 2026 so we can continue to provide high quality entertainment, high quality news, high quality reviews, and all that kind of stuff. So what we're asking for going into next year is, if you have the ability, we're not asking for a lot, you can donate. Go to ko-fi.com/MWP News and make a donation. Everything you do goes towards making sure we can do things. That way I can take days off work to go and cover things early, or, things of that nature. Go to events and talk about them early, see advanced screenings. All that stuff goes into that budget. On top of that, if you can't afford that, and I realize right now things are tough and things are rough out there. If you can't afford that, the easiest thing you can do is subscribe and rate. No matter what you use to get this podcast, you can subscribe. Just hit the follow button, hit subscribe, whatever the button is on your thing, and then rate us. Give us 5 stars. That'll help more people find us, and the more people find us, the more we can, the more we'll be able to do, and we'll be able to get more happening. You can also go to mwpnews.com and sign up for our newsletter. There we will have articles and stuff like that about what we cover on this show. And we will also be doing more gaming content on the YouTube channel. If we can get, with more subscribers on there, we can do more. And that's youtube.com/@MWPnews. And again, thank you for a great year for us. Next year will be better. One of the big issues that I had this year that preempted me from doing a lot of what I wanted to has been resolved with the issue with my car, and that issue has been resolved. So going into this next year, we should be a lot more smooth sailing, but we do need your help to get more people listening and get what we're doing here out there. So just subscribe, tell your friends, and if you have the ability to, and you have the money, and you want to, and you think we're doing a good job, and we've earned that, go to ko-fi.com/MWP News and throw us whatever you think we deserve. And thank you, and enjoy this episode. Good morning, and welcome to the Backlog Files. I am Adam. It is, what's it called? It is February. It is February 15th yesterday, 16th today, 17th. The day this is going up. How's everyone doing? I was going to talk about a new indie game. I actually have a few queued up on my computer to play. And then something else happened. So we're going to talk about that today. So what happened was, I finally got a Switch 2. I got the edition that came with Mario Kart World, and I think that, the rationale for it was, I believe the Mario Kart World bundle SKU is going away soon. I have really no interest in playing Donkey Kong Bonanza at the moment. Eventually we might play it, who knows, but not right now. Mario Kart, crowd favorite, always fun to play with friends, but that's kind of, where we are. So I was like, let me run out and get that. Got it, played it quite a bit. So let's talk about that today. So, Mario Kart World is the newest iteration of the Mario Kart franchise, dating back to the SNES days. And what this is it is an open world version of Mario Kart. I go back and forth on this game. Like, it is visually impressive, and a lot of what they do is kind of cool. I do like the world layout, and I think one of the things that they do very well that we don't necessarily see in a lot of other open world games is kind of like how the regions of the world mesh together. It's like one of the cup races, you end up going into a city. And one of the things they really capture about this, going from the country to the city, is just how it just slowly urbanifies, if that's a word. It's not like a sudden thing, like boom, now you're in the city. It's just like it's a progression where it's like, oh, it's becoming more densely populated, and there's more shops, and the buildings start getting taller. And it was one of the things like, oh, that's kind of cool that they kind of got that. That said, the open world feels very empty. I did play around in the open world a little bit, did some of the side missions, like around Booth Cinema and around DK Spaceport, and it's very empty. It's one of those things where it's like, as I'm playing it, I'm kind of like, I'm not entirely sure what the point of this was, besides proof of concept. Maybe this will be like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm not saying this game's as good as Breath of the Wild, or that Breath of the Wild is to the same level as this game, but the difference between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is night and day, and one opened up the console generation for the Nintendo Switch, and one closed it. Maybe we will get another Mario Kart toward the end of the Switch 2's life. Maybe that is what we're headed towards. But I don't think that this is something that was necessarily, it's just like, it's there. You know what it also reminded me a little bit of? Princess Peach Showtime, where it's like, this is a really cool proof of concept game. It's fun, it has, there's enough here to make me wanting more. Not sure about the full $60 price tag on it, but I get what they're going for. Like, it's kind of how I feel about the open world in this game. The knockout races are cool. I like the idea. Maybe I just haven't unlocked it yet, but it'd be cool if you could set your own courses in knockout race, or maybe there's something to do in multiplayer, and I just haven't done that yet. It'd be cool if you could set your own courses. I have yet to encounter that as an option. What else was that I wanted to talk about with this? The other thing that I'm kind of wishy-washy on is the races, the way they do the Grand Prix in this game. Because on paper, the idea of racing and then driving to the next course and that being part of it, and you have to do one lap, that seems fun. And I feel like only doing one lap when you get there is the trade-off. Whereas, like, we're not going to make you do 3 laps. We're not going to make you do, we're going to make you do 1 when you get there. That feels like a trade-off, and I get that. The only issue I have with it is that, again, because the open world is so kind of samey, and because you're always on the roads, it does feel a little bit monotonous going course to course. And the other thing is, these are largely, like, for a game that has its speed boost mechanic built into drifting, there's not a ton of opportunities for drifting because of how often you end up on these straightaways. And that kind of applies to what's it called as well. That kind of also applies to the knockout battle. But the idea that you're going to end up on these straightaways and you're just going to go through on the straightaways, it's kind of a little bit disappointing. Like, when you get into the circuits, that's where it gets more fun. But it's like you're jockeying for position to get into the circuit, and then you get one lap, and it's like, oh, well, there's not a ton of time for me to make up ground I've lost, if you've lost any. And then if you get to the point where it's like, or you're in the lead, and it's like, all right, well, cool, I guess, like, everyone's behind me. And the other thing I really am not a huge fan of, and I get they need to put in screens to hide the load times, I understand that, but I'm not a fan of the fact that, like, you start the next race, which is supposedly picking up exactly where the previous race ended, and I get this to differentiate it from the knockout battles, where the knockout battles, it is just one long thing, you're going through the entire thing, there's no load screen, you're just continuing on. I get that, but the fact that, like, how much you're leading by does not impact your lead in the next part is weird, considering what the mechanic is supposed to be. Like, if it was supposed to be like, hey, this is just a race, I understand that. Like, when you do Mario Kart, like in like Mario Kart 8 or Double Dash or 7 or DS or anything like that, it's like you do the race, you go to the next race, and then you're going to start out because you're at the new track, and you're going to start out just whatever position you were in last time, that's where you are now. The difference between that and this is that it's like you're going through the race, and then you're going immediately following from where you ended off the last race. You are going right off into the next race. It's just kind of a little odd, if that makes sense. Like, the idea that, like, what's it called? The idea that, like, you know, that the amount you win by doesn't quite matter when the cutscene exists the way it does feels a little bit weird. And again, the issue with that is this long kind of straightaway a lot of times is just kind of, you know, annoying. And I think that, like, the way to do the Grand Prix, I think in a future iteration of this kind of thing, is to kind of handle it like the knockout battle. It's just when you get to, like, what I'm thinking of is, like, in Mario Kart 8 in the Boost DLC, where you have all the extra courses. In that, when you're playing through, one of the things that you will inherently run into is this idea of this idea of these courses that are based on Mario Kart World Tour, the mobile game. And it's like, here's New York, here's here's San Francisco, here's and so on and so forth. And what ends up happening in those courses is that it's like each time you go through, it's a different path through the course. But there are, you know, barriers that go up to show you, like, oh, turn this way instead of going this way. And it kind of, like, it guides you through what the new course layout is each time. And that's kind of an interesting mechanic. I think that's something that would make this kind of interesting. And then at the end of each race, you kind of, you know, you get the points, and then it's like, boom, 15 points, boom, 12 points, no matter how many you have as you reach the end. That would be a really cool idea and a way to kind of make this a little bit better. But because you are just doing the straightaway to get to the one lap, it does feel kind of like you don't have a ton of time to get anything situated. And the fact of the matter is, the straightaways are a lot of times kind of boring. Because, like, one of them, I forget which cup it is, but one of the cups you have to go across this fucking giant bridge. And it's just like, oh, so I'm just going across this bridge. And I guess it's one of those things where it's like, they're hoping for the chaos of all of that. You can go up the sides, you can go up the suspensions, and ride it that way. There's no shortage of ways to ride this bridge to get through. But, like, functionally, it feels like it's missing something. The wall driving mechanic I use very infrequently. Maybe as I get into the higher cups. What I do when I play this game is I start out at 50, do all the cups, then go to 100, do all the cups, then do 150, do all the cups. Maybe as I get to 150, I'll be forced to use it more to kind of make up time and space. But that's the other thing, is that it's like, it's really a mechanic for exploration. There aren't too many tracks that make use of the wall, you know, like the wall driving, which is weird considering how big a mechanic it is. It's not like the rails you use all the time. Like, the rails are fucking everywhere in this game. And it is a great way because it functions the drift. And it's like, if you ride the rail, you will be able to, it's just, you're getting the same boost we get from drifting. that makes sense. The issue with going for the other one is that you don't really have that. There's really just like, I used it in like DK Spaceport, and then I think it was like Shy Guy Bazaar was the other place that I used the drift, but everywhere else was kind of like, you know, not the drift, the wall driving, and it just like, is that really necessary? And the thing is too, it's like, the game doesn't really introduce it to you as a concept. Like, I remember seeing it in the commercial, and then like I accidentally did it, and I was like, oh, that's cool, I guess. But at the same time, they don't really do a ton to make you want to do it. And the courses aren't laid out to be like, oh, and this is an option that you should definitely weigh as you're trying to get through this course. It's a little unfortunate. So all of that said, I would say this is a solid 4 out of 5. It's enjoyable. I see the vision. I see where the goal is to go from here. And I see the possibilities going forward. It's fun enough. There's enough to do in the game to keep you engaged and keep it kind of fun. But the way that the Grand Prix is handled and the emptiness of the open world does weigh against it. The other thing I'm kind of disappointed about is the lack of retro tracks. I like the updated Dino Jungle. I like the updated, I believe it's Koopa Beach is in there. There's Mario Circuit. At one point there's a mission you can do that's a tribute to Boo Lake. And it's like, I like all of that. But I would have liked more retro tracks. Now, I get when you're trying to fit these things into an open world and you're trying to retrofit these courses together, they don't always mesh, and it's going to be hard to do that. Maybe there will be DLC. Maybe there will be like a booster pack like there was for Mario Kart 8 that we get announced at whatever the next Nintendo Direct is, because it's been almost a year since release. Who knows if that's what we're getting? And maybe that is how they work in these retro tracks. But I think that that's something else. Oh, and one other thing that was kind of a little tedious more than anything else was collecting the characters. Considering most of the characters are costumes, and you have to do that by eating the correct, by eating the correct food as the correct character to unlock these, these characters. That was kind of tedious because you do kind of have to just like try every food with every character and hope that it unlocks something. So that was something that was, and too many of them are just variants of the same costume. It's like a bunch of characters have a beachwear costume, a racing costume, something like that. And it's like, is this really necessary? I mean, I guess it is necessary, so that way multiple people can play as the same character if you're doing a 24 race. And then, like, you do also have like the Penguin and the Pianta and all these other characters, and it's like, okay, I get that we have all these characters, and then like the other question that I'm inherently left with as I'm watching this, like, and we get to the end, is why do we have all of these characters? There are characters that are omitted, that probably should have been in the game, but why go through this effort to put, like, who the fuck is buying this game to play as the cow from Moo Moo Meadows? Or who is buying this game to play as the Penguin from Super Mario 64? Or the like, anything like that? Is that something that people want? And then the question I end up with fundamentally after this is, why do this and not do, like, Smash Kart? Like, at some point during the process of trying to pad out this fucking, of trying to pad out this roster of characters, like, did the conversation not come up like, well, we just do a kart racer with all of Nintendo's characters? Like, that's something that would probably be better received. Like, if we put Villager in, and Link, and Samus, and, you know, Pikachu, and, you know, all this shit, I feel like that's something that would be better received. And the thing is, too, it's like there were a few races where I ended up toward the beginning, and then as I'm trying to get back, it's like I got weighed down with a lot of mushrooms and not a ton of attacking weapons, which was a little disappointing because like I was curious about the attacking weapons. And also, like, the fact that, like, so many characters are tied to the Kamek, it's mildly annoying. But I digress. And I'm not entirely sure what the Kamek does besides unlock characters for you. I'm not sure why that's there. But I digress. Mario Kart World is available now. It is $70 if you do not have if you do not buy the bundle. If you buy the bundle, you can get the whole thing for $500. Switch 2 and Mario Kart World. Next week. Real quick, let's get into 2 other games that I played a little bit of with the upgrades for the Switch 2. I did buy the upgrade pack for Animal Crossing. It's fine. I think aesthetically it looks fine. I don't know if anything's been added yet because I did start a new island right before 3.0 came out. You can watch the progress of that on YouTube, youtube.com/@MWPNewsGaming every night, Monday to Friday at about 7:30. The video goes up somewhere in that range, and that's something that you can watch me play along there. Aesthetically, the graphics are a lot better. Although I'm not entirely sure that's something that was necessary for a Animal Crossing game. I'm not looking for high fidelity. That said, it does look a little bit better. And then the other thing I wanted to address is Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet. The first video of which goes up this week. This week's video does not exactly reflect the quality of the Switch 2 because I was using the 4K capture utility, which does not lend itself exactly to use with OBS, I discovered. So starting with that, and then as we phase into other videos that are not pre-recorded, we will get into higher quality. But so we have to get 10 episodes into Let's Go Pikachu and Shield before we get into that. But Scarlet is the first one. By episode 3, we get the whole thing fixed, and it looks a lot better. It sounds a lot better. All of it's a lot better. The point I'm trying to make in all of that is Scarlet looks like the game it should have been from release. There's still some pop-in. There's still some graphical glitches. It's not perfect, but it runs at a smooth 60. There's no one walking at 10 frames just out of, earshot of you. It's cleaner. The textures are still a little bit iffy, but I think the game does all around look and run a lot better. This is kind of what this game should have been from the beginning. And I understand that Game Freak was trying to get this game out to get it, on shelves, in time, but the issue is this is how this game should have been from the beginning, and if this is what this is going to look like going forward. I have not yet played ZA with the upgrade pack. I did buy the upgrade pack, but I haven't played it yet. Maybe that'll be next week, but ZA is definitely something that that I'm interested to see how much better that runs, because I played ZA on the Switch and I was like, yeah, it's fine. I don't need this to run any cleaner or smoother than this already is. We'll see how that goes. But you will wrap up there for today, and until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.